Commodities Day. Now let's discuss coffee. Well, just mentioning the name, I think some some individuals who love coffee get excited. Well, we know coffee is a beverage brewed from roasted coffee beans, stimulating effect due to the caffeine content. That's why a lot of people take it to stay awake. Well, recently it's been noticed that global prices of both Arabica and Robusta coffee fell sharply by over 33, in fact, almost 34% and 42% respectively due to improved weather conditions in major producing countries such as Brazil and Vietnam. Let's delve into this. And of course, we need to find where Nigeria is. I believe that in some parts of Nigeria, I believe like Taraba State, there the weather is good enough for coffee. And in fact, there were conversations of coffee being grown right there. But let's talk more about this now. I know that Emefiele Onyelikachuku has done some findings and is eager to share it with us. Hi, Emefiele, welcome to the program. So tell us about this coffee price movement. And I mean, it's very important that we also know the place of Nigeria in the production and what we do with the price movement.
Thank you, Ini, for having me. It is true that coffee prices globally has dropped significantly due to improved weather conditions in Brazil and Vietnam because coffee prices hit an all-time high last year and this year due to drought conditions. But currently we're seeing that there's improved weather conditions here. There are improved weather conditions in Brazil and Vietnam, which is making prices decline. And we're expecting to see prices also to decline further as well because these top producing countries are nearing harvest season. They're approaching harvest season. And naturally, once there's harvest season, we see that prices of commodities fall. And that is definitely what happened in the price of coffee. And then in terms of demand for coffee, we're seeing that European Union, the largest consumers of coffee globally, they are beginning to implement deforestation regulations. You know, it's no news that a lot of countries are implementing laws to mitigate against global warming. And the EU is not, and the EU is also part of this as well. And so the EU, this deforestation regulation that they put into place is just to ensure that coffee that are brought in are not gotten from lands that have cut a lot of trees, that a lot of trees have been cut from beyond 2020. And so this is a huge risk because a lot of producing countries cut their trees to produce coffee globally. And this, but anyways, I would say that now and December 30th is a long time before we can decide about European demand. And what I would say again concerning Nigeria's production, Nigeria doesn't produce so much. Well, I would say that there's a Nigeria doesn't produce so much, and I would say that there is an economic theory that everybody must consume what they produce. Nigeria, in this case, can take advantage of can use comparative advantage. Instead of focusing on producing coffee, we can utilize all the resources we have to focus on commodities that we get enough export government revenue from. An example is coffee, and this government revenue can take a part of it to to import coffee from other countries. But if Nigeria still wants to venture into this, because we have producing states such as Taraba and the likes, the government has to put into place enough practices such as more funding and skill acquisition programs for all these farmers in order to ramp up production here in Nigeria. So I would say that coffee prices will definitely decline in the near term because of all these factors such as increase in supply from neighboring countries and also this EU demand as well.
Decline in demand. I wonder if the message of, the dangers of possible addiction and health hazard of coffee, I wonder if that has in any way reduced demand.
Okay. Yes, you're very right that there's a lot of talks surrounding the dangers, the negative health benefits of coffee intake by individuals. But I also say that yes, there are also other commodities that if you take have excessive intake of these commodities as well, there's also negative effects. You find negative effects on individuals' health. But what I would advise, and what I think a lot of practices have been put in place now that there's advancement in technologies, now that people have realized that yes, that coffee has negative effect, what can be done is that everything should be taken in moderation. Everything should be taken in moderation. We should not take excessive coffee. And concerning demand as well, since all these issues have been raised, a lot of people have begun to take more active steps. So there's also the caffeinated coffee, for example, as well. People are taking the caffeinated coffee. So I'm just trying to say that global coffee demand would not necessarily decline because we're seeing that people are more aware and people are now moderating their coffee intake. And yeah,
All right, Emefiele, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
thank you.